This morning as the backdrop to my ramble. I'm working on this Star Wars LAAT/LE patrol transport. Don't ask me what that means. I'm sure Wikipedia can tell us, but it's just this really cool looking transport ship that showed up in both the Clone Wars and Rebels. It's from Fantasy Flight Games for the Star Wars Legion series. But like I said, this is just the backdrop for what I'm doing. I got a comment on my blog. If you haven't checked it out, johnbius.com. Before I did videos, I did blogging. I did a lot of blogging. I've been blogging modeling since 2006. I only started doing videos in 2019. But one of the blogs that I did was I was in the process of building an Australian Spitfire Mark 8. And when I got to the blog entry about painting it, I basically talked about how I didn't worry too much about a proper exact match for colors generally when I was painting models, aircraft models. And you know that you can do what you want, of course, which I'm going to talk more about. But generally, if you're trying to make it look like the thing that it was, you want to get your colors looking reasonably close. But the point of the article that I wrote was that, you know, I never bothered getting the exact match. And I gave an example of the green and the brown that I used in the camouflage on that particular model. And I'll put a link in the Patreon and the YouTube post that this video will be on. So if you want to go read that article, you can. Nothing groundbreaking or earth-shattering about it, though. But you know, I said that you get close enough, because once you start doing fading and shading, and maybe you're going to do some modulation on it, and then you're going to do weathering over it, and you're going to do chipping, and you're going to do some kind of streaking, whether it's dot filters or something else. You know, by the time you get done, that if you've really carefully selected your colors so that it's an exact FS match, Federal Standard match, or whatever the color is you're going for, it's changed. Now, you know, obviously, if you're going to be, let's say you're doing, just to stay in the world of aircraft because it's on my mind right now, but you know, let's say you're doing a Hellcat in late war colors, so it's that, you know, that navy sea blue, the dark sea blue that they put on. Having something that's fairly close to that, again, is helpful. But once you've applied the effects, the starting point is almost irrelevant. In fact, what I've found is that quite often you're better off accounting for, I mean, if you really want to get advanced about it, you're better off accounting for what you want the final color to be, and thinking about it in terms of, well, when I apply the weathering and things like this, how's it going to look? You know, to retain a hint of what the original is. So sometimes accounting for it that way is, I think, important. But anyway, this, believe it or not, I'm rambling on now for 5 minutes, and I'm not even at the point of what the ramble is about. but somebody posted a comment, and you'll see it on there if you look at it. Posted a nice comment, but the essence of it was, well, hang on, let me turn 90 degrees to my computer screen so I can read it. I don't want to misquote him. He said, "Thank you. As a newly returning modeler, I've almost bailed out a few times after watching some of the professional caliber builders obsess over a determination to achieve realism. Their work is phenomenal and to be admired. However, some of us," and in parentheses he put me, "are only discouraged, not inspired by the level of craftsmanship. Thank you for making it okay to enjoy the process, even if my results aren't wow-worthy." So he's very, very kind in his comments. But what struck me there is the fact that, you know, he saw people doing videos, and he was looking to that for inspiration, but instead was discouraged because of this false perception that color accuracy is an absolute must. And I gave him, I don't even remember what I answered now, and I could turn around and look at it again, but it doesn't really matter. But I think the point to get to one, and I do have one, trust me. I always have a point. It may not be a good point, but I always have a point. Is if you have the chance to answer somebody, to respond to somebody, be encouraging, not discouraging. I mean, I get it. Some people like to obsess over the colors, and I have no problem with that. I've got a friend that's just part of the hobby for him, is really trying to mix up a paint that will mimic very, very closely whatever paint chip he has for that particular model. And it's just something he enjoys. And to his credit, he doesn't push that off on everybody else. But when we have the opportunity to encourage somebody, I think it's important to not focus on, is the color absolutely accurate, or would that rust have appeared at that point on that model? I'm not saying it can't be brought up, but what's the purpose of bringing it up? Are we helping a fellow modeler, or are we just, trying to make ourselves look smart, which I never try to do because it takes a whole lot of BS to even get me close to looking smart. But anyway, it just struck me as something to think about with his comment that ultimately I think it's more important to be helpful and encouraging than to be accurate when we're talking to fellow modelers. But then again, that's just my opinion, so take it for what it's worth.